My sister complains the altar kiss was awkward.
Oh.
Yeah, she complains.
Okay.
Problem with life is that if you don't deal with something now, you will still deal with it later. It won't go.
We always want the other person to be the perfect fit.
Oh my God.
Yet we do not work on ourselves to be also perfect fits for someone else.
Are you sure it's the marriage you want or it's the wedding? There's something amazing about being in a relationship when you're in your field that is worth the wait.
You know when you're dating, mnaweza kosana, when you're apart, separate ways, you meet the next day.
Separate ways is next to you.
Yeah. Separate ways ako hapo. Throughout. So if you're used to doing things under racks, you have to do them. Unajua ingine unaweza kata simu.
Sasa huwezi katia na nalala kando yako.
Stima imeenda, I didn't charge my phone.
You can give an excuse. Now you can't.
Now you can't. Yeah.
But I had this international relations experience. I was a peace and conflict expert. I mean, let's sort this thing out. And I can see if we can just get to this point. Like if you can just see my perspective on this one, you'll see that I'm not trying to harm you or like that. And Amka, we're not done, you know, or in a nice way. But I really meant, like, you know, and maybe he's already reached his tiredness, and that doesn't mean that that's right again. But
It's like I have selective amnesia. Like nilisha story. We move on.
Yeah.
You know.
yes.
Pause the tears.
Yeah. But tell me when I can cry again. Yes.
You
Not
know,
just for them forever.
Yeah. Have that.
No.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Sharpened. Thank you so much for clicking on this episode. We're so excited that you're here yet for another conversation. We have very interesting and beautiful guests on set today, and I would like them to introduce themselves so that we can get on into the conversation.
Hi everyone, this is Neema Muli. I'm so happy to be here again, Joy. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming back.
Again, here we are. Looking forward to this conversation. Again, my name is Neema Muli. I am a phenomenal woman. I'll say that till the cows come home. I am a maternal wellness coach. I really just enjoy being in the space where I can empower people. I am a mom of two, and for the benefit of this space, I am a wife.
Thank you and welcome back, Neema.
Thank you so much, Joy.
Yes.
Hello everyone. My name is Vincent Muli. I'm the Muli. I'm a father, husband, and an accountant by profession. Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys, for coming. The duo is here. That is Mr. Muli. Last time, people could wonder where the husband's coming back.
Yeah.
One of the husbands is back. The rest of the husbands, we shall look for them. All right, let's get into the conversation. Our conversation today is on dating right and pursuing right. This is in the context of a Christian, a believer. Owing to the space, I decided to look at the couples around me who I think embody that, because we've had conversations on the side, especially with Mr. Muli. We had one conversation and I knew he had to be here. I know you didn't know that. We one time had a conversation concerning dating and pursuing, and I knew he had to be here today. And so for that reason, you are the best, you are the choice, you're the people's choice for today. All right, we have our questions on this board. Per usual, I'll just be asking them the questions and then we can move along. Where I can give a comment, I will. This is mostly a them conversation. Can we start? We're good?
Yeah, we're good.
Sure. All right. So before we get into our questions today, I thought let me just ask, what do you think is the definition of dating? What is dating really? And what is the difference between dating and pursuing?
Interesting.
Were you pursued?
Were you
She went there. She went there. Yeah. What's the difference? I feel like you can say better for that one.
I think for me, pursuing is before you get to the dating phase.
Okay.
Like you've identified someone you're interested in, and then you approach them, and then once you get there, unauza sera zako. If you accepted,
Yeah.
then now you begin dating. So for me, I think dating is majorly trying to learn this person, trying to see whether you're compatible in the sense of where you're headed as a person and where you see yourself in the future. So you trying to find out whether this person is fit for me to move with in life and work together to create a future.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. That's interesting.
Yeah. I almost wanted to ask, when you say difference between like pursuing and dating, did you have something different in mind when you say pursued?
Not really. I just wanted to hear what could be the difference between the two from your standpoint, being that you have been pursued, you have dated, and now you are married. Yeah.
Okay, so you're still ordering it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really what he said. I would think pursuit for a woman would look so different, right? Woo. Yeah, it would look really different. But yes, I would agree more or less.
Alright.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. I think even maybe when we continue, we're going to get into probably courtship, because for me, it's
Yes.
like there's a whole different conversation between dating and courtship. It's like these are two very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I would say dating is having fun, really. It's the going out, it's the testing waters, it's the learning. I used to be like, don't date, be into courtship and what. At the same time, though, I do think not necessarily to expend your energy, but there is a value in being able to take time to understand the different gender and understand how you expend energy around the different gender. So not necessarily to make it too casual or too intimate or whatever. But that's the point. Dating itself can just be about everything outside, and we'll talk about that. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
perfect. Let's get into the questions now. I'll be the one to ask the questions today. So let me give you all the first question, which reads, what defines effective communication and how important is it in a relationship? What defines effective communication and how important is it in a relationship? Especially for the men, what is communication really?
Right? I do not mind listening.
I don't want to go to the books, but it's just passing information and making sure that that information has been heard and understood as you intended it to be. Challenge comes when you say something, someone interprets different. So you find your meaning, the meaning you had when you said something, and the meaning they will get in the interpretation is different. So it's just to make sure, effective communication is just making sure that the meaning you had when you said something is the same, is received the same.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. So now there's no misunderstanding. I don't need to do my own interpretation of
To
what you're
fill in
saying.
the gaps.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. How important it is in relationship?
Yes.
Hey, you want to be understood every time. You need to, you need everyone, like always to be sure that what I said, my intentions and what I
Yeah.
said is what has been received
That's true.
and nothing else.
That's true.
Yep.
I hear you. Neema?
I'm trying to really wrap my mind around it because everything he said is really true. And then, for us, we have to keep bouncing back between how that looks in the dating,
In the
'cause
dating,
right?
yeah.
And how it looks in the, So I think for sure, especially in the dating phase, you want to be able to make sure you're transferring the meaning in your mind in the words that you're saying. Because there are things, that's why we have things called inside jokes, because you could be describing what's going around here, but we wouldn't understand because it has a different meaning to you guys. But we can't see the meaning. So that's the thing. Make sure you're able to transfer the meaning. And in that space, like for example, when you just had a joke, the way you've said it to the receiver of the inside joke, you've effectively communicated. But to the rest of us who are listening,
There was no communication.
there was no proper communication, right? So it's making sure that you're transferring your meaning in your mind to in the words that you say. And I think sometimes the bedrock of conversations, now from communication to now conversation, is connection. So that's something that I think is important to be mindful of during the dating phase. Make sure that that connection is flowing. Because it'll help when now the communication abilities start to falter, you know? Yeah.
I think.
Sorry.
Yeah, go
And
on.
also, I wanted to say also that we are not mind readers.
Oof.
So make sure what you need to say, you say.
Yeah.
So that you don't assume that the other person will just perceive what I'm saying
Yeah.
without saying it. So you have to voice it out, plus the meaning itself. So make sure that it's it's perceived by the other person.
That's true, because I think also, maybe just to agree with you, there's a tendency to think, because we're in this together, you've gotten to know me for some time, you need to know. But they're not an angel. The
Yeah.
person you're dealing with is not an angel. And I think also on the flip side of it is the only way to be understood, like you're saying, is to just say what you want.
Yeah, it's true.
Just say what you want so that someone can understand how they can be better for you.
That's
Yeah.
so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't write a script and not give the other person their part and then be sad they didn't play it.
Yes. Yes. That's very unfair.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, next question. How can I'm laughing because we had this conversation with Vinny as well.
Okay.
So, how can an unmarried couple avoid submitting to the lusts of the flesh while dating?
I feel like you've plunged, eh? Like you've just...
The questions are very random.
Go ahead.
How can an unmarried couple avoid submitting to the lust of the flesh? Owing to the fact that we're talking about dating right and pursuing right.
What you feed, you amplify. Let me say that. So if your dating is centered around the lust of the flesh, definitely you're going to fall into temptations. But if you choose also to, let me say, choose to pursue purity, it's a decision you make. You choose what you want to see happen in your relationship. So why are you dating? Are you doing it because you want to just gratify yourselves, or you are dating for a bigger purpose? That becomes secondary in a way. Begin to do things that matter. Also, don't be too exclusive. Don't be in exclusive spaces by yourselves. Be in open spaces. What would I say? If possible, sometimes just have friends around. Don't be in exclusive spaces. You'll definitely bring yourself to temptation. But again, I would say, choose what you want to see in your relationship. Yes, like if you want to go that side, it will definitely happen. But if you choose, this is a decision you're making, we're doing it right, it's also very possible.
So now that you say that, allow me to ask, during your dating phase,
Yes.
how easy or difficult was it to go ahead and apply what you've just said in your relationship at that time before you entered marriage? Because I feel like it's actually the reality of what we face right now. We're in relationships, and most of the times it's, how do I put it? You tend to conform because that's what is all around me. Like, that's what is all around me. Like, it's okay for you to do this, it's okay. I mean, the grace of God is sufficient, all of that. So how did you guys manage, if you did, to cruise over that into your marriage?
You want to answer that?
You can go ahead. I can hold my horses.
I think for us, one of the decisions we made when we met was we're going to wait till marriage, and that was for everything, even the kissing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not that I'm surprised. Go on.
My sister complains the altar kiss was awkward.
Oh.
Yeah, she complains.
Okay.
You know, the reason being, today you'll kiss someone, and this is someone like you know there's a place you get and you're like, we'll get married definitely. So I mean,
Why wait?
why wait? So today you'll do the kissing. It will satisfy you being the first time. Tomorrow you want more than that,
That's true.
and the next day more after that. So it keeps on going until you find yourselves, you've done it all. So it's like starting fire that you know you're not going to quench. So it's better not to start. It's safer. She's never come to my house alone.
What?
She never came to my house alone.
Do you know why I'm surprised? I'm surprised because that's not the norm. And especially because you guys dated like not even in like the now generation. So I'm actually quite pleasantly surprised with that by that.
I think you also know yourselves. Like, know your shortfalls. Like, you just don't allow. The Bible is clear. You resist the devil, but you flee from temptation. You don't have to flee.
Turn
but-
around
yeah.
with the temptation.
No, you don't. You don't discuss it. You don't have a conversation because you might penya today, tomorrow you might fold, and just you have to know yourself. And then something else that, I mean, he has, and I'll let him continue because I'm sure there are nuggets I will take. But for me, I ultimately also said that you have to you flee from it and give yourself something else to do. In order for you to run away from something, you have to have something to run toward.
Ay, Neema.
So
Neema.
otherwise, the momentum just won't be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get tired. You'll
Yeah.
get,
You love those Sunday afternoons and Mondays
yes.
after after serving God in church, and you feel drained. You just want to be held and to be told, complimented, and that's where you can give the devil a chance. Not necessarily that Sunday, but you know, there's I think for men there's something very interesting. Once you feel like you've achieved something, that being applauded, complimented, should come with something else.
What do you mean?
Like you'd want to be cuddled.
Okay, I see.
You know, massaging the man's ego.
Yeah.
So the way it comes, inakujanga na complimentaries. If you're not careful, you know. So you just make a decision. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. But again, I think something I wanted to say is there are things you do when you're dating, and there are things you do when you're married. So if you're on this side of the divide, please do the things that you should do on this side.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Have something pulling you.
Yes.
Yeah, go on.
And then vitu zingine utafanya. I mean, just wait. I'm not saying it itakuwa rahisi, but just wait. Find something to occupy yourselves. As I said, avoid being alone. Be with friends. Be in open spaces.
Accountability.
Yes, accountability.
And
Very
just
important.
don't schedule some more personal needs around your ovulation time because you'll want to bite someone off. It's just it's nature trying to
tell its
to take its course, and it's like, and you know, and that's why, you know, being mindful of where you are, who you are, and then like I said, be intentional. What are some of the skills you want to have before you get married? What are some of the things that you want to work around before you get married? How well do you know yourself? How well do you know this person and these other things? have those things on a list at hand so that if the heat starts, the things that are just as interesting, you have to, right from the beginning, try and be intentional about the things that you want to do, things you want to pursue. Because remember, there's life after you get married, and life continues, life restarts, and so on. And it will be so much better if you had already taught your brain different paths of habit. So, for example, let's say, I don't know, what's a fun thing that you'd want to have learned before marriage? Okay, finances. I don't think it's as fun, but maybe you want to have like insight. So maybe that's something that you guys pursue alongside a hobby. So here's the other thing, an adrenaline distraction. So do something that will give you just as much a high with a friend as that's hormonal thing that would do, so that you redirect. Because this is something that you need to also have cultivated, first of all, in your own personal life. That's the other thing that I think is primary to do. Cultivate dating yourself, cultivate knowing yourself, cultivate enjoying your own company, cultivate understanding what are your highs, your lows, your quirks, your whatever, and then who are you, what are your core values, so that you don't feel offended if your partner denies you a closer hug today because you achieved. You know what I mean? You don't feel offended. You don't feel like they're not understanding you. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I think there's so much to pick from there. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, also the fruit of the spirit, self-control, also plays a big role.
I think the biggest thing I'm picking from all this is identifying your weaknesses and your faults, so that you can be able to go around them, because what worked for you too could probably potentially not work for me, because maybe somebody else would be like, but I don't even enjoy, let's say, hiking. What will give me that adrenaline? But you can pick something else that will engage you in a different front. And I think the biggest of them all, because I have experienced it myself, accountability is very important. I think there are some things, if you're very committed to the work of Christ, you can't say in front of your friends and be like, and they be like, congratulations, good job. Like, so yesterday I messed up like this. They will definitely call you out for it, and they'll be like, this is wrong, this is. So I think accountability.
And also making sure that you don't tie yourself to your actions. That's why people hide, because you can have all the accountable people and whatever, but if it's between you and the two of you, and you decide they'll see it funny, like, and you don't say it, what happens with the accountability? That's true. It's really, so if you make sure that you know these actions are not helpful or not good, in fact they could bring you more issues than good or harm, and you know what you want out of them, then you know that should you fall, that you're not attaching that. Because that's also the other thing, the relationship with your Savior, relationship with Christ, and how well are you doing. And again, that's why I'm saying, unfortunately, the questions will flip how we approach this thing. But first of all, before you date, how are you doing with your Savior? How are you doing personally with Him? And then after that, now it becomes, how well do you know yourself? And then after that, are you healed? You know, do you prioritize yourself, and so on? And then now into the dating. Because a lot of the way we function in how we date, a lot of the struggles, because, you know, I'm a firm believer of, let's not fight what we don't need to fight. Let's deal with the core of something, you know, and let's turn our attention rather than struggling with something that we don't have to struggle with.
That's true.
Yeah, so that if you get some of those things in order, you might find maybe you don't even really like this person, you're limerent about them. It's a big word, find out about it. And and maybe you're not even attached to them in a certain sense, but you have this crazy drive and urge to just be with them, and you are obsessive with them, and you don't know that maybe this is something to do with an attachment style. So really your issue is not even that you're dealing with fornication or something. No, maybe you're dealing with a different way your trauma is displaying itself. So there are these two things that come in, and it sounds like one is jokoka enough, you know? So that's why I'm saying at the top, your relationship with Christ, and just having those has to be good, but also having the key things that you know help you maintain. like write them down. Like for sure, I know if I don't have my devotion for like 10 minutes, my thoughts will start wandering, or how I relate with Christ. I won't see him with an honor. I know if I don't see this, like you have to have the distinct things so that in the time where you can't reach for them, you have them somewhere, so it can slowly become habit. So I'm big on don't fight what you don't need to fight. Yeah.
I hear you. Thank you so much for that perspective. I think there's so much to pick from that, and I hope if you didn't like probably get a thing or two, just rewind. All right.
Just remembered something funny.
You wanna go?
Yes, one-liner.
All right, good.
And just to lay emphasis on what I just said, the worst part about not dealing with some of those things is them showing up to your life, in your marriage life, like nothing happened. Like that ceremony was nothing. Like that big, that you thought all of a sudden you're married, that's going to stop everything or change everything or do whatever. So if you don't deal with those things while you're alone, while your train of thought is not being, interfered with, because you have to take care of someone else or take care of other things or a household, literally cherish having that time to yourself.
That's
and
true.
that time to be like, I figured this up until this, I can come back and do to this, and it won't take even a longer time. So that's just to lay emphasis that the problem with life is that if you don't deal with something now, you will still deal with it later. It won't go. Yeah.
Just like the self-control.
Yeah.
Simply because you're married does not mean you will not need the
Self-control.
self-control you
Yes.
needed when you were dating.
Yes.
So you have to
Actually, more.
Yeah.
Well, married man said it. Who am I to say no? Yeah. So should we go to the next question?
go
ahead.
All right. This is even in line with what we've just spoken about. So share an experience where your community impacted your relationship in your dating phase. Like the people you worked with during the time you guys were dating. Do you have an experience where you think they impacted your relationship? This is positively, I believe.
I think we were blessed to have at least a couple who walked with us up until they helped to sort of like lower some of the expectations into like marriage
Oh, okay.
in terms of the perfection and the hype that we put on marriage. I usually do joke the height and energy that we put into like marriage and wedding and the coming up and whatever. I wish people would just like a stairs falls from heaven and they just climb and go to heaven, because it's just sets you up for failure in terms of
Okay.
expectations. So I love that they normalized the landing that can come on the other side. Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
They gave you foresight.
They give you foresight, like saying some stuff that you think just because you guys were amazing, you had a connection and whatever, you think maybe your interactions will be perfect, or they'll be, just normalizing that there is time and that they will be growing and that they will be perfecting certain things. Even your cuddling, you'll have to learn which side, of course that's if you're not doing it before, but you'll have to learn which
We
is
hope
which.
you're not.
We hope you're not, but in the Christian setup, like, that will take time,
Yeah.
and that your best intimate moments might be after a year, and that's okay. That's part of the journey. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think for me, I would say equally say I was blessed to be around people who value marriage.
Okay.
I think most of my friends were married,
Oh.
if not all. Okay, not all,
Okay.
but most of them were. And getting to understand the realities of marriage even before you get in
Got
there.
into marriage.
Yes, that was really helpful, so that you lower your expectations, work on yourself,
Yeah.
to be a better version of you. Because sometimes I think the mistake we make is to want the other person to be perfect for marriage, and then we forget to put the same
Say
effort
that
to
again.
ourselves.
Say that again. Say that again. Louder for the people at the back.
We always want the other person to be the perfect fit,
Oh my God.
yet we do not work on ourselves to be also perfect fits for someone else.
That's true.
Yeah. So walking around people who have been into marriage and value it makes you now begin to focus on yourself and work on yourself to be that best fit for someone else. Yep.
I really want to lay emphasis on that because that speaks to me personally. I find it scary when people don't have community, and especially if this is where you want to go. How are you planning to go there yet you've never been there and you're not talking to anyone who has been there before? And I think that's even the conversation we're having on our way here today. We're talking about how sometimes if I can't see something, but Vinny, who has been in a marriage, knows how it's going to go, how it's going to look like. Why not just go to Vinny and be like, let me know, how does this work? You've dated before. Am I doing this right? So I think I implore everyone to always make sure you're accountable to someone, and also make sure that you ask questions. Just ask questions. What's the worst that can happen? You'll just get knowledge. Yeah.
I love that, and I wish for whatever I'm about to say, somebody would listen to what I'm saying and then go back to what you said. Because, when I think about the way you're like, how is somebody trying to pursue something and they are not surrounding themselves with a community? And that's why I go back again to what's driving you to want to get married. Are you just feeling a need? Are you feeling something?
Loneliness.
Yes. Not even loneliness. You could be feeling approval. You could be feeling trying to substantiate yourself as a core person.
Biological clock.
Yes,
That's
all
a big
those
one.
things, right?
That's a big one.
Yeah. So, and the worst part about human beings is that they're not static. So they can't actually fit that need. You can't take the cuddling aspect or the procreating aspect and then
She says procreating.
you said biological clock, right? You take the procreating aspect and then discard the rest of the human being.
That's
true. So you find out why. That's why some people, also apply for jobs and then you're like, I don't know if I really wanted this type of job. But what was driving you was your need, your hunger for, food, or your hunger for, resources or whatever. So the more you are certain of who you are and how you fit into certain spaces, the more likely you are to take time with something and make sure that you've laid the groundwork for it. So you found the people who are relevant, found the couples that you're like, I like your dynamic. Can I, sit around you? And you've seen the people that, noted, that's not the road to go, That's the more you're likely to better prepare before you plunge. Yeah.
Actually, let me just ask so that the audience can have a bit of a context. How long did you guys date for? And now, currently, how long have you been married for?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
How long did you date? Yes.
Yeah, 2.5 years, inclusive of the wedding date. So it was pretty fast.
2 years is not fast.
It's not fast.
6 months is...
It should have been faster.
it should have been faster. Okay.
Well, yeah, ish. So
2 years.
2 years. No, so we did 2.5 years, and then we've been married for six years this year. 6 years next week. 6 years, right?
Oh, next week.
Happy
Because
15th August.
Happy anniversary, guys.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that it's important to get a bit of context so that maybe someone who's watching can give a gauge of where they place themselves in terms of this is how long I've been dating for. I'm not saying that there's really a timeline, but for most ladies, we kind of have a timeline.
Yeah.
Am I lying?
It's circumstantial.
Yeah, like my body itself is telling me it's time. Like it's not even about how long you've dated for. Biologically, your clock is actually ticking.
But
so
I still feel like we have a lot of, like the other day a while back I was telling this lady, are you sure it's the marriage you want or it's the wedding? And if it's the wedding, let's go try on dresses. Let's go, you feel
that need.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Your next birthday, let's throw that bash. Let's celebrate you.
That's very nice.
Because then that's how you have like bridezillas. Because the need, the desire, all this was so that I could have this and feel this moment and appreciation. And again, that's just one layer. So there is the clock. But I feel when I look at the other side of the place, when people get into it and they are not like fully prepared about it, and I see the same person who was going for it because of the clock, and they're like, yo, I'ma be fine by myself. I'm really like, no, it's okay for us to unpack those things and make sure that nothing is holding you hostage, because it's not even like a static thing. You know, it's not like a soda utakunywa utaridhika, you know, you'll feel better. Yeah, there's something amazing about being in a relationship when you're in your field that is worth the wait.
I hear you. Thank you for that. All right. Let me see. I'm trying to see if this question we have done it. All right. What are some of the changes you experienced coming from your dating phase into your marriage?
Tell us, sir. Tell us.
Some of the changes you experienced coming from your dating phase into your marriage.
One common one is, you know, when you're dating, mnaweza kosana, when you're apart, separate ways, you meet the next day.
Separate ways is next to you.
Yeah. Separate ways ako hapo throughout. So if you're used to doing things under racks, you have to do them.
I hear you. How difficult was that?
My wife is the type of person that wants to sort everything and then we move on. I'm the type of person who, when I feel I'm tired and we're not coming to a conclusion on agreement, I would rather just pause than continue. She wants to finish everything. We have to sort this before we sleep. Yeah.
How did you guys carve through
Unajua wengine unaweza kata simu. Stima imeenda, I didn't charge my phone.
You can give an excuse. Now you can't.
Now you can't. Yeah.
How did you guys go through that? How did you navigate that?
Like you see, I wish I had that ability to be like, okay, sleep like it is.
Okay.
You know, but I had this international relations experience. I was a peace and conflict expert. I mean, let's sort this thing out. And I can see if we can just get to this point. Like if you can just see my perspective on this one, you'll see that I'm not trying to harm you or like that. And I think perhaps there's also a need to be heard. I need to be understood. Like I'm only right if he sees that I am right. Like, you know, this is paper, whether you believe it is paper or not.
Yeah.
So giving people the room to come around to my point or vice versa, that cognition wasn't there. And I think it's that self-work that has allowed it to be there. But yeah, the ones of Amka, we're not done, you know, or in a nice way. But I really meant, like, you know, and maybe he's already reached his tiredness. And that doesn't mean that that's right, again. But in terms of what am I responsible for, that's something that I think would have been nice to work on. I mean, where I came from, family, we dealt with our issues. We sorted them squarely.
Did you feel that you got grace from your husband, being that now that's the background you came from, and now you guys were dating, so you were allowed, quote unquote, to behave how you would want? But now translating it into the marriage, do you feel like you got grace, and how important is it for people to extend grace as people transition from the dating phase into the marriage?
That's a two-part question.
It's two-part.
I think we're moving to conflict resolution.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it's still... let me say this now, especially on the part where, like, she needs to sort things out and everything. I think the approach should be every time you have, let's say, a conflict like that, to understand that my spouse is not an enemy.
That's true.
So whatever needs to be sorted, and again, understanding the perspective of the other person, as you're saying, extending grace. For me, I'm the type. I was the type that feels like it can wait. Let's just wait. And the problem with that for me was I would easily switch off. Like switch off nimeswitch. Kama nimefika limit. Siwezi solve anything. And then next time I'm coming, probably I'll even pretend, or not even pretend.
Well,
I have, it's like I have selective amnesia. Like, nilisha sawi story. We move on. You know, there's another challenge today. Let's solve this one today or something else. But with time, I realize they need to be heard. They need to know what she's saying. It's not necessarily an attack. She just wants to be heard and to express herself.
I love that.
So I also have to extend my limit. Ni just stretch kiasi to hear what she's saying. Yeah.
I like that. And that's where you have, I hope maybe you'll just put it up somewhere, connection over communication. Yeah. You can
expound a bit on that.
Effective communication doesn't always work because if there are other things that are inhibiting the connection, whether it's you're tired, you're stressed, you're hungry, you're cold, you're overexcited, you won't hear what the other person is saying. You'll see it as an attack because your first and foremost issues are right up there. So connection always, and connection also means that if I'm tired, I'm like, affirm you. I really love you and I care for you. I know this is important to you. It ideally is also important to me. And I'm at a place where I can't have this conversation right now. And you're able to say that I can have this conversation maybe later, or I can.
Please give a time.
Yes, you have to give a time when you can have.
Pause the tears.
Yes.
Pause the tears.
Yeah, but tell me when I can cry again. Yes,
You
not
know,
just for them forever.
yeah. Have that, and I think that works for everything. Everything that you're working out, any trauma, anything
That's
where you
true.
can't engage well enough and say, I will have this time for you, or connection over communication.
I hear you.
Yeah.
All right, next question. I really hope you're enjoying the conversation so far. And if you are, please give us a comment right now. What has been probably your take home so far in the comment section? And then we'll be able to continue engaging on the comment section as well. So now, our next question reads, how did you set boundaries while in your dating phase?
No.
How did you
What
set
kind of
boundaries?
Yeah.
What
My
kind of
question is, what kind of boundaries?
So both physical boundaries, whether you had spiritual boundaries, whatever it is. Think in those lines.
You want to go first?
You go first.
All right. So, back to the thing. What is your personal belief? Obviously, when you're choosing the person you're courting, you're not choosing somebody who's, for the main part, unequally yoked in terms of values, right? So those are at least some things that already they're, laid there. You ask questions. You have the dates. You say, I believe this. I don't think of this. What do you think? Okay, this is what we think is important.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're a Christian, there are things that are already set out for you. So now it's the the gray areas. So like for us, where we were clear, even petting and kissing won't work for us. So that's already a no-go zone. So this is what is there in the Bible. This is what I've been brought up with. This is what I think is valuable. And then this is what I know will lead me down the right path or the wrong path. Yeah. So
the what I'm hearing is communicating the boundaries before you expect them not to be broken.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You lay the ground. Remember, what's your end goal in mind?
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, Vinny, anything?
Just what she's saying, I would echo the same and say boundaries are set to safeguard something.
That's true.
So it's like knowing this is exactly what I want. Let's say you're a farmer, for example. If you want to farm within this space, that's why you've put boundaries so that you don't get things, animals and whatever coming in and destroying your crops. So it's the same thing with dating. I mean, how you set boundaries is based on what do you want to achieve. If you want to harvest maybe 10 tons, you will not farm in 1 acre.
That's true.
Sure. So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. right, love that perspective. How important is it for two individuals to have shared beliefs?
Extremely important.
Yeah, it's
And
everything.
expound.
Two can work together unless they agree.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you must have the same goal in mind.
You think that you are you are moving as a car, but kumbe you have no wheels and you're the one who's carrying the car like Flintstones, you know, like you know. So that's the thing about beliefs. It doesn't matter what some people think certain aspects can work, you know, like, oh, we don't have to be the same religious beliefs, or we can, you know, but at the end of the day, there's still things that, first of all, it's questionable whether it's worked, but at the end of the day, there's still things that are your baseline. The things that you value the most, those are the things that you are aligning belief-wise. Yeah.
Let's take an example of someone who values purity in dating, the other one doesn't. How is that going to work?
It won't, yeah.
But I think probably even to allude to the same question, maybe not on the you see, let's say something like purity is very core
Yeah.
to a relationship.
Yeah.
It could be other aspects of your relationship that are probably not core, but you're not quite aligning in the same. I could give an example of
Parenting.
say that
Parenting.
Parenting, exactly. What is your belief concerning parenting and spanking children? Because I believe there are discussions you have before you get
Sure.
into it. So what do you do in moments where, have you even had moments where you felt like, by the way, we don't align in this and this? And maybe how did you navigate that as well?
I always think that and I know I'm sure you have something to say, but I always think the introduction of facts and introduction of information will help dispel the conversation. Because a lot of times we might be, if you and I are looking at 69 and you're at the other side, you're looking at it, you're seeing 96, we can argue till the cows come home. But if somebody pulls us on the side and says, oh, it can be looked at this way, not this way, then you're told, that's not even an important fact altogether. So like, you know, we had that conversation last time, toilet sit down, toilet sit up. Then you're told, actually, toilet seat closed because bacteria is going to rise up and fly. Now, that's an arguable fact that you can actually have feces all over the wall and so on. So it's no longer about preference. So that's the other thing. What's the goal of me being right about this thing? What's the goal? Like now with parenting, it's what has been proven to be the best for the development of the child. It's not how I was brought up or how you were brought up. It's what is the best for the child. And then, remember, there are things that will always have to be your fundamental beliefs that you can go back to. What's your constitution? What is your safeguarded? And if in the Bible there is such an amazing view that God has in terms of children and their capability that He'd allow for children to be even kings at 7 years old and at whatever, it means that He has a different structure of how He'd want to see kids. And if we are arguing about, quote, quote, spare the rod and spoil the child, let's go and find out the meaning and definition, and you'll actually find that it is not how we have misused it and used it. The same thing for marriage and anything else in life and family. God's word is actually sanct for it. So I usually say, when we introduce information, even money, you find this one is into spending, this one is into saving. Let's introduce. Where did you get your saving culture from? Why is it about saving? Are you just afraid? Saving. Inflation comes, eat your money. What have you done with that saving? So how are you applying better models, better things that will actually be of help, so that you're not arguing about things that are not towards the goal of building something greater and bigger. Yeah.
That's amazing. Anything to add, Bindi?
I think
You have been
yes.
represented well.
Yes.
All right. I think this could potentially be our final question. What advice would you give a couple that intends to pursue marriage? A couple that's dating and they are intending to pursue marriage.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Advice ni mingi.
Sema top two.
Sijui tuanzie wapi. Number one, work on yourself to be the best version of you before you get married to anyone.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think that's self-explanatory. Number 2, get the basic skills
Yeah.
to be a husband
Yes.
or the wife.
Yeah.
I mean, I think tunaingianga marriage tukimandazi sometimes without knowing what we want.
That's true.
Because in most cases, we think that we're getting married because of sex. Or I'm getting married because I need a companion. I don't want to be lonely. Or I want to get married because I need my age. I should be having kids by now. Sitaki nipeleke watoi shule alafu naitwa shosho. You know, there are those jokes that people make. At your shosho has come for you. So, purpose in marriage. Why are you getting married?
That's true.
And then, while at that, then get the skills to be husband or to be wife.
That's true.
Kwa sababu, if you don't have those skills, he will struggle. Because now you'll realize what I thought isn't. And then also, try to define marriage from God's perspective and not what you're learning from people. In most cases, especially our African setup,
That's true.
where we realize the wife is just assigned roles and chores. Kazi yake ni kupika, kuosha nyumba. I mean, bana, we're at an age where everyone is working. So kama nyote mnatoka 8, kuna washing machine, kuna dishwasher, kuna robots to do your house. You don't need to saa zote na mop, you know, just use a robot to do those things for you. I mean, what you can afford, get it. So that at least you save on energy to be yourselves. I mean, and also to have conversations, to enjoy each other. Kwa sababu, if we do it the traditional way, the way we used to do things, she'll get pregnant, she'll give birth, she'll watch the children, cook for them, cook for me, wash my clothes. You know, so mpaka unashindwa kwani ulioa robot? So you're not getting married for chores.
That's true.
You're getting married for purpose.
That's true.
So if you can find ways to ease your life, make it easy, you know, get a house help if you need to, or someone coming in to do some things, so that at least you save your energy for working in the house to build yourselves.
I hear you.
Yeah.
And it's so sad if you in your relationship don't work around making something a safe place, an encouraging place, a place where there's function, there's growth, where you will, you know, put dreams and goals. Technically, the way we do marriage and the way we do family and whatever, especially for women, it's unless it's for the sake of you having a roof over your head and access to financial resources, it's not really beneficial for you.
That's true.
So if you don't find a way, unless that's what you want, right? Because there are people who are very happy to be the one who will do all the chores, all the this, all the that, work, you know, round the clock and whatever. If that's what you want, fine. But if you want more out of life and you want to carry, let's say you're having a fantastic dating phase, you have got to make sure also you have the same ideas of marriage. I've seen a lot of guys. As soon as they get married, there's just something that clicks in the head that just is like, yeah, next, on to the next thing. Like,
Oh, the project is done.
the project is done. And I've had it even from the greatest and the best, and I usually like, you know, like,
It's just that.
yes. So do you both really value marriage? Do you really, really value marriage? Do you really, really value each other? Do you really see your own value? That's will always be the most important thing. And I was going to say, for a question that you've asked, you know, it's hard to give grace you haven't received. And there are things that you have to walk through for your own self. So that if somebody is having a crazy fit or they're going through things, you give them grace and be like, it's okay. I still see you. I still see you're somewhere there. I still see, because you understand God's grace, God's mercy. You understand Christ like that. So, yeah. And also make sure you're aware of what biology is doing to you and for you, and so that you value what is for valuing, and you don't value what you shouldn't be wasting time on. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys, for your time, for your will of wisdom. I think there's too much to pick from this entire conversation we've had today. But the final thing you guys have said, I think for me it's ringing in my mind to pick a book or two about what you want to get yourself into. Like, pick a book and study about marriage. Get the Bible, study about marriage. Get the Bible, study about relationships. Get to know what the Lord says about companionship. Si kama vile nimesema kuingia kwa vitu kimandazi. Exactly. So let us know in the comment section what you have picked from this entire conversation. Also, probably your insight on the same. If you have a comment on whatever topic of discussion we've had today, please go ahead and leave it in the comment section. Also, and I know we keep on promising this, but we are on Spotify officially. We're on Spotify. So we're going to leave a link in the description box as well. You can go ahead and click on it and then listen in for those who prefer audio content to the visual content. And that's about it. Do you guys want to say your goodbyes? Thank you so much, guys, for coming.
Sure,
Cannot wait
you.
to have you back again for a different conversation.
They can ask questions down there, and then we can come back to answer.
You want to come back so bad. I know. You're gonna be back. No worries. Yes, give us a comment if you want them back as well, and we shall be able to reach them. All right.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for having
us.
me in your conversation.
Oh, wow.
Because I was literally just part of this conversation. Thank you, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.